Fresno Unified. Who do you support to be the superintendent, basically? And over 2/3, actually 3/4, 75% said, "Way to go, Misty. We're proud of you." Fresno Unified trustees chose interim superintendent Misty Her as the new leader of the long struggling school district. So now we're gonna hear from Keisha Thomas on her recorded interview with Alex Zambalakian that was aired on KMJ. We got a copy of that. We're going to be airing some of that. That she actually says no, there is no pick as on Misty Her as a superintendent. We'll show you that clip here momentarily. Money, not instruction time, is at the heart of designated schools negotiation. Great article. This was a controversial issue on designated schools. I don't know if, Bill, you have any brief comments on this before we move on to the superintendent issue?
So
No.
basically designated schools are extra learning time. It was started as a pilot project. It expanded to about 40 schools. Fresno Unified looked at it and said, we're not getting the results for all the extra money. We have budget cutbacks right now. We're going to drop designated schools. And the teachers union is opposed to that. They view it as a pay cut. And they've been negotiating with the district ever since about how to phase out or how to drop designated schools. And Anya Ellis dug into this, and she looked at the back and forth between the union and the district, and she learned, union wasn't that concerned about instruction time. What they're most concerned about is how to replace the money that the teachers were getting for spending extra time teaching.
Basically, things are going to be looking up in valuations, home prices, maybe starting in 2026, potentially end of this year. Not sure. There's a lot of factors. That's a chart of by the Federal Reserve, by the way, on home prices. They've kind of stagnated for the last few months, call it last almost couple of years, and potentially on another upward trajectory on all real estate prices, not necessarily homes, but all apartments, real estate, especially as it comes to housing. Okay, will your Fresno Street get repaved this year? City of Fresno's got a big plan. Let's put that next chart, number 9. All these streets are going to get either repaved, slurry sealed, a bunch of work done. We were going to put actually an aerial map of Fresno on which streets get it, but there's a lot of streets that are going to have a big refresher. I wish Mike Carbasi was here to talk about it. Bill, the dollar amount is over 30 million. Is that correct?
Yes, almost $32 million in this program. And Nelson Esparza, the District 7 council member, he hinted to me that there may be more in the pipeline, more announcements coming this year.
Fantastic.
Okay. And Darius, this covers about 50 miles, and there are projects in all 7 of the city council districts.
Looking forward to that.
In the past, we've had these arguments at City Hall about this district's getting too much, that district's not getting enough. Seems like everybody's pleased with the way this was rolled out.
So Manuel Bonilla, the FTA president, says the fix is on. He said, quote, in this article by GV Wire, the board had a unique opportunity to use this process as a way to rebuild its trust with the community. Unfortunately, it seems like they missed that opportunity, and he used the words, the fix is on. Is the fix in?
There's no fix, nor has there ever been.
So right now, is Misty Her the new superintendent?
No, sir.
You cannot
comment.
She is
not the new superintendent at this moment.
We heard it from Keisha Thomas, one of the 7 members of the Board of Trustees, Fresno Unified, that she told Alex Zambalakian. Bill, was that this Sunday? I think
Yes, Darius, that was this Sunday, and you'll notice she said, not the superintendent, pause, at this moment.
that's
I
correct.
mean, to me, that's just a confirmation.
Okay,
That was not a denial.
okay. At this moment, and Jimmy Martinez said yes. At this moment, I guess because the final vote is on April 23rd at Fresno Unified um, boardroom. So those of you that are interested in commenting or airing your opinions, for April 23rd is when that final vote is going to be. Linda Samuelian, why is this so secretive? That's a really good question. This is supposed to be an open process. I understand that some of the candidates currently have jobs as superintendents in other school districts, and they don't want to advertise to their current employer that they're interviewing. But why is the entire process so secretive? How many candidates are there? Fresno Unified could have, and Valerie Davis as the board president, and current Misty Hur as the interim superintendent, and the HR director. I'm trying to think. Is that Mr. Chavez? I'm not sure who the HR. No, it's a woman actually, director of HR. Um, why couldn't they make at least say there's 4 candidates here? We're going to protect their identity and where they live, and or 4 finalists, I should say. And here's their resume. Here's what they've accomplished, so people get a chance to know in our area what their elected officials, elected members of the school board that people have elected to that position, who are they voting for? Are they passing up on some fantastic candidates because of some deals they've made? We've heard a lot of that over the last 12 months. It's we'll see. GVY is very committed. We have at least one person's resume, which we're going to, and once we have his permission, we're going to air that. Um, we understand there is another person. There may be another woman that we may be getting her resume shortly. I'm not talking about Misty Hur, but whoever that is, we'll try to get to the bottom of it for sure. I mean, I shouldn't say for sure. The goal is to have all resumes of the finalists available to the public.
Bill McEwen, um, kind of questioning the Fresno Unified School Board, saying this in his article about statistics that they're dismal. The district 49 points below the state standard in English testing, 78 points below the standard in math testing, following small gains in 2024. When you hear some of those stats and then you're running for Fresno City Council, are those results telling voters I'm the right person? This is why you need to vote for me. What do you say to that conversation or even that criticism?
You know, sometimes you just got to take it what it is. It's what it is, and unfortunately, you know, our teachers work really hard, so I cannot ever take away, the hard work that they do, and I never will do that because I've been a teacher and a principal and all that other good stuff, and it's really hard work. And then let's not even talk about the amount of students that we have that may or may not come to school, especially now that we have all these issues with, you know, um,
Absenteeism.
yes, absenteeism, but bigger than that, we have the possibility of them being deported, their families being deported. There's a lot of little pieces to this, and I'm tired of hanging on to COVID because it was bad before COVID, and Bob was a really really nice guy, but the outcomes that were supposed to come under his tenure didn't happen.
Many things that's disappointing is that why did Keisha Thomas not speak up when Bob was superintendent? And we don't want somebody to speaking up 5 years from now. Say, you know what? While Misty Hur was superintendent, as we selected her, here's the challenges that we faced. The kids suffer. 70,000 kids will suffer. First, four of the trustees Keisha Thomas, Valerie Davis, Elizabeth Jonathan Rosas, and Claudia Casares voted to have an internal search only. It's only after board president Susan Wittrup said we had a press conference and said our students deserve the best and brightest CEO, which is the superintendent. That the board changed the vote to, I think, became a 5-2 vote a few weeks later to do an external search. 12 months later, we're back at it. We know at least one person who has really good resume. We'll get all the resumes. We'll find them. With their permission, we'll publish it. So the entire Fresno community will know who the other candidates were. You be the judge. You be the judge. And some of these folks are up for re-election. Some, like Keisha Thomas, is running for city council. Elizabeth Jonathan Rosas just ran for city council and lost to Brandon Vang. We don't know if she has plans, maybe has plans to run again next year for the same seat.
Like I say, I have a very open mind about Misty, and we never know for sure how someone's going to do in that chair, but certainly it's well documented that Fresno Unified hasn't had the students' best interest at heart for many, many years, several decades. And Keisha Thomas herself says that on the show, says our numbers aren't any good, says we haven't been outcome driven, haven't been directed at the students. Those are Keisha's words, not mine. Keisha speaks the truth about that. The question would be, why hasn't this focus changed a lot earlier? I mean, this has been written about in the early 2000s. The community rose up, wanted Fresno Unified remade. The bureaucracy won. That's just the reality. And Valerie Davis says size and success matters. Well, size only matters if you can leverage that. I mean, we see smaller school districts around Fresno. They're far more nimble. They're far faster reacting. They know their students better. They're producing better results. And it's not just Clovis Unified, which has demographic advantages. It's school districts that have very similar demographics to Fresno Unified. And you know, Darius, about 2 weeks ago, we ran a CalMatter story that talked about one of the highest achieving schools in the state, making the greatest gains. It's a school of farm workers in Delano. You put the right plan in place, you get results. That's what this is about. It's not about personalities. It's not about race. It's about results. And you know what? There are a lot of people out there in Fresno that'll just keep making excuse after excuse after excuse when other school districts are succeeding and they face very similar challenges to Fresno Unified. And the fact of the matter is, if Fresno Unified can't use its size and leverage it to its advantage, what reason do we really have to keep it the way it is? If Misty Herb fails as superintendent, the community should rise up again. We should go back to a plan that then Superintendent of Fresno County Schools, Pete Mihas, proposed, which is break up the district, make it more responsive, empower more parents to be on school boards, empower more people to become school board trustees that aren't interested in running for Fresno City Council or Assembly, who are not using that as a springboard to future political success. People who want to be trustees because they want to serve students.